Now, the Congress of South African Trade Unions will today hold a rally at the Dobsonville Stadium in commemoration of its 40th anniversary. These celebrations come at a time when Cosatu has been losing its influence within the organized labor sector. It's been accused of being indifferent and utterly tone-deaf to the plight of workers and unemployed South Africans owing to its alliance with the ANC. Newzroom Afrika's Juniour Khumalo joins us live from the Dobsonville Stadium in Soweto. So, Juniour, when we talk about some of those discussions with regards to Cosatu and the ANC, those historical ties are an ever-evolving conversation when it comes to those two parties, especially when it comes to the independence and effectiveness of Cosatu as a labor union.
Indeed, Katlego, that relationship between Cosatu as well as the ANC basically started as far back as when the two organizations were fighting against that apartheid government, trying to bring about democracy into South Africa. It has since continued even post the apartheid era with the ANC, Cosatu as well as the SACP forming that alliance partnership and working together to achieve quite a lot, especially when it comes to the labor laws in South Africa that are enshrined in the Constitution of South Africa. But speaking about those challenges that Cosatu has since faced, even today as it tries to host this 40th birthday anniversary here at the Dobsonville Stadium, this is about 24,000-seater stadium. There has also been those challenges in terms of the supporters of Cosatu and the members of Cosatu trying to make their way into this venue. As you may know, Katlego, there is that expectation that President Cyril Ramaphosa is going to be here. So there has actually been an increase when it comes to the security being put in place. We've seen some state security members also positioning themselves at the gates of this particular venue. That seems to have made it a headache for most of the supporters to come in. But I'll bring in the General Secretary of Cosatu to just speak to us about some of those challenges when it comes to bringing in some of the members and the supporters. Thank you so much, Mr. Petwe, for joining Newzroom Afrika today. There has been a few challenges when it comes to bringing in the members and the supporters. Speak to us about that. What has caused some of these challenges?
Well, thank you very much for having us here. And you are right that since this morning, we had agreed that we are opening the gates at about 7:30. Gates were open at 7:30. There are some workers who came from far from Limpopo, from Mpumalanga, from KZN, arrived here around 4:30, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. But they were not allowed due to the security, the tight security led by the Office of the President. And we have now gone to them. You can see that workers have started to come in because we had to go to them and say, allow these workers to come in so that we start our rally. So I think we have resolved that properly. This is a challenge that is happening every time and again when we've got a rally, especially if we invite the president of the ANC, who's the president of the country. And that thing we'll have to discuss it with the ANC. We have to discuss with the Presidential Protection Unity how to make sure that we allow people to come in without any hindrance. And as I said, we have addressed those issues with the police, with the JOC, and they are now coming in.
But today we are here as Cosatu celebrating 40 years of existence. Speak to us about what Cosatu has managed, the legacy of Cosatu. What have you managed to achieve in these 40 years that you've been in existence?
Well, since the Cosatu was launched in 1985, you will recall that firstly the Constitution in 1985 was structured in a way that there was a sort of a discrimination in relation to the gender, the race, and all those issues. The Labour Relations Act was not allow workers to form their own union. We managed after 1994 to make sure that the new Labour Relations Act of 1995 allows workers, and the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa allows workers to join the union of their choice, allows workers to make sure that there's a collective bargaining in their workplace. We have achieved those issues. And in terms of making sure that the Labour Relations address number of challenges of workers, let me give you an example. We have, as Cosatu, negotiated and fight under the leadership of the ANC government by then, before it became the Juniour, that there is a section that deals with the labor brokers, that any worker who has worked for more than 3 months must be employed as a permanent worker. We have achieved that, but it is very little that is happening. This is one of the challenges. There are employers who still undermine, and we have decided that we must take those employers to court. For example, the community health workers It has been discussed, it has been agreed at the PSCBC, but the same government that is negotiating with the public sector there has not implemented. I'm just give one example. Nehau took this matter to Labour Court, and now as we speak today, those workers are in the process to be employed as permanent workers. It's a victory for Cosatu, it's a victory for unions of Cosatu. We have made that workers, the farm workers, also being recognized as workers. The UIF, the compensation, the Labour Relations Act, the national minimum wage is extended to farm workers and domestic workers. Today, we can say one of the achievements that we've made for years, before 1994, at the time when Cosatu was launched in 1985, domestic workers were not allowed to join the union. Today, we've managed with the Department of Employment and Labour, the register, that domestic workers are now a legal union to allow domestic workers who are vulnerable workers, taxi drivers who has no benefit. They today have benefit. They today have a right to belong to the union. We have managed to make sure that the Basic Conditions Employment Act satisfy or represent the interests of workers, regardless whether they belong to Cosatu or not. The issues about the Occupational Health and Safety Act is one of the issues that we've achieved. Today, any worker who gets injured at the workplace has a right to claim in terms of the injury and duty, the Compensation Act. We have also managed to make sure that the Convention 190 that deals internationally about harassment, sexual harassment at the workplace is addressed to represent the issue, the interests of women who are being harassed at the workplace. So those are some of the achievements that we can talk about. Currently, as we speak, we're in the engagement to finalize the amendment of the Labour Relations Act. Some of the employers and some individual government, as you know, that we are now under government of national unity, they came there under DA, because you know most of the employers, they belong to DA. They came to Netleg and say, these workers have made too many rights, we must reduce them. They wanted to reduce the national minimum wage. In fact, they wanted it to be removed. They wanted it to be collapsed. They marched to Cosatu last year after May Day. They wanted that the retrenchment packages, the small companies must not follow the Section 189. If they dismiss you, you must just be dismissed without following the process. So there's quite a lot of issues that we are facing in relation to those issues. Challenges is that unemployment rate is very high. It's very high. These are the issues that we're engaging. And when we went to G20, we said we're happy about those issues that have been addressed. 4 issues that workers organized labor raised: the inequality, the sustainability of our growth, the issue of unemployment issue, the issue of gender-based violence, the triple challenge that we're facing, poverty. We're happy, but the issue would be the implementation of those issues. The main challenges workers were facing is the retrenchment under the economic challenges that we're facing in this country.
Thank you so much, Mr. Patwedi. Of course, you can tell that there has been quite a lot of achievements that have been made by Cosatu over the 40 years, but there has also been a few challenges that they've also faced. They are speaking to some of those affiliate unions that have left Cosatu. We understand that they've written to some of them to try and bring them back, because this has seen Cosatu drop from about 2.2 million membership to about 1.4 million currently. But those are all some of the things that are going to be discussed when the program finally gets underway. It was supposed to get underway at 9:30, but because of those challenges, it is now expected to get underway at around 11:30.
All right, Juniour Khumalo out at the Dobsonville Stadium in Soweto ahead of the 40th celebrations of Cosatu.